When everybody left the house, um, we got a phone call when the next walkthrough occurred that the air conditioning unit had overflowed. The emergency switches didn't function. Um, there was no emergency pan under, but a bucket. The bucket overflowed, and the ceiling downstairs ended up.
Key West Porch Talk, your home navigator. From the Keys to the Seas, it's all a thrill. With Ruth, your trusted realtor.
Welcome to Key West Porch Talk. I'm Ruth, your Keys to the Seas realtor with Lafreno Real Estate at 1120 Duval. And today we are interviewing with Carrie Payne and Danny Payne from Waypoint Inspections. Can't wait to hear their insights and all of their trials and tribulations that they will share with you. So let's get started. Carrie Payne and Danny Payne, how about telling us a little bit about your company?
So, by background, I'm a 23-year veteran of the United States Coast Guard and got into this. I was a naval engineer and for about 10, 12 years, and a facility engineer for 12 to 13 years. We've dealt in systems and, have plenty of qualifications prior to starting this. It was kind of a avenue to get started into this career. We've been in business for a little over 4 years, and here we are.
And how do you, being a married couple, how do you divide up the roles here?
My background is in marketing and sales. And so when Danny wanted to start this business, we really put our heads together with his technical background and my background in marketing and sales, and really spearheaded it that way. So I take a lot of the phone calls, do a lot of the back end marketing, do some of the agreements to get out the clients, talk to people on the phone. So we really tag team the entire business. He is definitely the technical mind of the business, and I am the artsy mind of the business.
That's a great blend. Excellent. So thank you for being here today. I'm going to start off with some questions and let you just, answer them as we go.
Absolutely.
So what are 3 top issues you commonly find in the Key West homes that are built before 1970?
No, I'd say number one is electrical issues. Things that were allowed by code years ago, especially back prior to 1970, are definitely not allowed right now. And that affects, we understand home inspectors are not code inspectors, but we understand code and we understand what it takes to have a safe home. And things back in the 70s were not as strict as they are now. So really where that affects the home inspection is with insurances. Insurances want to know that everything is up to snuff and safe. So I think really electrical. And then when you talk about structural and things like that, we deal with pests down here. We deal with termites specifically and wood destroying insects. So, when we get under a home in a crawl space, a home that's been around here for a while may have been chewed on by pests and things like that. So, in terms of structure, we're looking at, the structural integrity. And so we'll see a little bit more wear and tear as far as that goes, the pests. And then, of course, you deal with roofs. If a roof is old down here in the environment, they only last so long. So, and those are the 3 majors, I'd say.
Excellent. I know that, like, when it comes to electrical, you mentioned that, and you mentioned previously when we've discussed stuff about the GFIs. And could you explain that
GFIs.
to somebody?
Right. So back years ago, and even in the 90s, they weren't required to be in certain areas, wet locations. Used to be as long as they were 3 foot from a water source or further away, you were okay. Now, the National Electric Code has changed that to be in all wet locations, all exterior receptacles, and then in every kitchen.
Okay.
So a lot of times we'll go into an older home that hasn't been updated. Within 3 feet, you'll see a receptacle that's GFCI protected. Outside of that, they won't be. And so while it's not, you don't have to change that out and replace non-protected receptacles, we advise it because it is a safety measure.
Excellent. And that's not a really big cost when you're talking about safety.
Nope, $15, $20 a receptacle, you pop it in, you're good to go.
Excellent. So now, moving on. What's one small repair that sellers overlook that actually make a huge difference on the inspection report?
I just think it's maintenance type items. Dealing with air conditioning, keeping your air conditioning clean, things like that. If you can really prior to listing your home, if you can, repair small cracks and take care of the small things that, us as inspectors, when we go in and we see things that have been neglected, it raises alarms and causes us to kind of look a little harder and dig a little deeper, because we understand if the small things aren't taken care of, what's going on with the big things.
And when you say small things, that might be changing the filter once a month.
Changing a filter, aligning doors, making sure all your windows function. The small things that can be taken care of that will, really make everything kind of
Then they
fall into
won't be
place.
that problem on the inspection report.
That's correct.
Excellent. Great. So, how does salt air, being that we're so close to water all around us, how does that impact the home systems?
Well, anything that's metal is going to corrode. That's what I tell people, buyers on home inspections, is that, we point out nails and things like that, but everything that's outside in this environment corrodes. Something as simple as a nail holding a piece of sheathing together or a piece of flashing together, that's fine, easily corrected. When you start talking about structure, joist hangers, and things like that, if we let those things go, they fail, they crumble, and then your structural integrity really starts to diminish. Another thing is air conditions.
Mhm.
We should be cleaning our air conditions once a year, and I've been guilty of it. You let it go, you forget about it, everybody's busy. But when you walk up to an air conditioner, you see it's corroded. Really, it could have life left. Edit that out.
Power of editing.
Hot mic.
The air condition could have a lot of life left and operating properly, but it's starting to deteriorate from the outside.
So let me interrupt. When
Sure.
you say clean the outside air conditioner, what does that mean?
It's just a freshwater rinse from the inside of the unit out. Very simple. Most homeowners can take care of that
With a hose?
with a hose, a light spray, fresh
do you
water,
know?
and you're good to go. So
All right.
things like that will just keep your home running well and looking good.
That's a great tip.
Mhm.
Thank you. So moving on, what does a clean 4-point inspection look like to you? The clean, you explain that.
Clean's relative. Obviously the 4-point, we look at the 4 major systems of the home. It's the roof, major appliances, your air condition, water heater, your plumbing, your electrical. A clean 4-point, you want to make sure your roof is in good condition. Right now the standard is have 5 years of life left, although we recommend more. We want to see a good healthy roof without any holes, dents. If it's asphalt shingles, you don't want to see the asphalt sloughing off. When it comes to electrical, really double taps, improper grounding. You want to make sure your electrical is in order and it's safe. You don't want to see hanging wires. And then, this has been a thing with some of the insurances, is when you talk about the appliances, they want to see the age, that it's in good condition, it's operating properly, but the age, the insurance companies for a water heater want to see something within the 15-year mark. Once it hits the 15-year mark, they start to raise some flags and want you to replace it, whether it's operating properly or not.
Wow.
And then they look at the air conditioner and make sure that's in good condition.
Yeah.
Plumbing, obviously no leaks under sinks, no leaks inside, and that it is healthy. Obviously, leaks and moisture in a home can cause major damage, and these insurance companies want to reduce their liability as well.
Of course. So you mentioned something back on the electrical, the double tap. Would you explain that for our listeners?
A double tap, it's very simple and it's very common. It used to be allowed by code, to be honest with you. And what that is 2 wires going into one breaker in your panel box. The reason that's become a safety issue is everybody knows that they write code based off of safety and mishaps. So at some point, those 2 wires in a breaker that's not allowed, when the circuit kicks on, wires heat up. Circuit kicks off, wires cool down. Over time, that expansion and contraction creates a gap between the wires and your breaker. That creates arcing, sparking, and can eventually create fire.
So only one wire should be run into each of those circuits.
1 wire to each circuit,
Okay.
unless the breaker specifically states that you can run 2.
Okay, excellent.
There are certain breakers that allow that, but it's an easy fix. An electrician could come in. If it's 1 double tap, it takes maybe 10 minutes to fix.
Good to know. There you have it. That's a great tip as well. We're learning a lot of things today. Thank you. So, do flood zones cause more concern structurally or mechanically? We're pretty much all a flood zone here.
Surrounded by water,
Yes.
absolutely. I would say that it all depends on the way your house is built, elevated or not, and where your major appliances, your air conditioner.
Ah, yes.
Never used to be code. You could set your air conditioner on the ground. We get a flood, Now your air conditioning unit's, been soaked with saturated with salt water. You can almost write that off.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
going to function. So, if the water level gets high enough and we're ground level house, if it's a concrete foundation, you have moisture around your foundation, could erode the foundation. So I think it's a little bit of both, depending on the structure of your home.
Right, but some things that a homeowner can do is raise their HVAC system off the ground 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, what have you, and that would help that situation.
Absolutely.
All right.
And now if you're getting a new air conditioner, it's required.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep.
Very good. Good to know. Super. So what upgrades help a home pass an inspection without wasting renovation money? Everybody wants to upgrade the kitchen, the bathroom. Those are the key ones.
Right.
But what would be the best upgrades that don't affect the money and are good on the inspection?
Sure. That's really everybody loves their kitchen and baths.
That's right.
It's probably one of the most expensive upgrades you'll make. And but if you're talking about the smaller things, one of the biggest things I've noticed are roof screws. Actually, the integrity of a roof down here in high wind zones, these screws every 12 to 15 years will rust. You should be replacing them every 12 to 15 years.
And using stainless steel?
Stainless steel, galvanized.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to make sure that your screws are free of rust. And the reason is a high wind event, your panels may be okay. You have a rusted screw, you get that wind on your panel and it pops the screw head and now you lose your whole roof.
Sure.
Generally a metal roof will last 30 to 40 years with a little bit of light maintenance. The screws, 12 to 15 years.
Yeah, and I suppose also if you get a little rust on the actual metal of the roof to get that, do they paint it or something?
You can encapsulate it. They make a
Okay.
rust converter. You wipe it on and it turns that rust to a hardened metal.
Perfect.
So
Excellent.
there are ways to cost-efficient ways to take care of things.
We like that.
Yeah.
We definitely like our cost efficiency
That's right.
down here. That's for sure.
I do.
Anytime we can save a penny, right?
Absolutely.
So what is one inspection horror story that did not kill the deal because the seller handled it the right way? I'm sure you have a couple of
Yes.
stories.
I've got a few. I think the biggest one, this was years ago, went into a home. It was not occupied. And there were a lot of breaches in the envelope. And when I say breaches, there were windows that weren't sealing. There were doors that were not sealing, so that it was a humid environment. The air conditioner was running. And we noticed a bucket underneath the air conditioning unit. So went through the inspection. The air conditioning unit was dirty. When everybody left the house, we got a phone call when the next walkthrough occurred that the air conditioning unit had overflowed. The emergency switches didn't function. There was no emergency pan under, but a bucket. The bucket overflowed, and the ceiling downstairs ended up falling through.
Oh, goodness.
So, being that the owner knew there was a previous issue, they had the bucket under there, knowing that it condensation was occurring underneath the air conditioning unit. They went ahead and replaced it and made the repairs.
So they really should have started out with a pan under their water heater.
It was
or
the air conditioner, correct?
Oh,
Yep.
even the air conditioner, right?
Yep.
If they had it in the house, that would have saved,
Absolutely.
not a bucket.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. And once again, the air conditioner was older, and the time of installation, a pan wasn't required.
Got it.
Neither were backup emergency switches. So, like I said, when they write code, they do it because there's been an incident.
Always, yep. And
Yeah.
then we have improvement.
Exactly.
That's right. All right, great. So, excuse me. What's one thing that buyers fear in an inspection report that isn't really that scary to fix?
I'd say electrical. Anything electrical you can't see. Electricity is hard to deal with. It's dangerous. It can be. But most everything electrically can be repaired.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, a lot of the repairs are very small. It's moving a wire from one spot to another. We talked about double taps. Removing that double tap. Easy solutions for it. Just got to stay on top of it.
All right, excellent. So no fear. The inspection report is not that scary.
No.
There's always a way around fixing things. So now that we have opened up to larger questions, I'm going to do a truth or tale quick round. So we just need quick answers, and if you want to elaborate, that's fine
Sure.
too. So this is a quick round, and our inspectors here are going to tell us whether it's a truth or a tale. So the first question, a metal roof guarantees that you pass inspection.
Definitely not. No, you can have a metal roof and it can be rusted, it can be corroded, it can be, it could have leaks. And to be honest with you, I mean, you have many screws and penetrations through your roof with a metal roof, and so no, it doesn't guarantee it. It helps, but it doesn't guarantee it.
All right, so that's the tail for sure. Inspectors only check the inside of the home. Truth or
No
tail?
way, that would be dangerous.
False. A lot of problems that occur inside of a home is because the outside, the exterior envelope has been breached. So while the systems on the exterior of a house are a little bit larger than the small, minute, detailed work that's inside, the outside is critical to keeping the environment out.
Excellent, very good. All right, truth or tail? All Key West homes are automatically in a flood zone.
Yeah, we have, so insurance companies have labeled flood zones in the Keys, and we're surrounded by water. So there are flood zones, and every home is in a specific category.
Right. But I'm going to put a caveat on
Okay.
that. We have a couple of areas in Key West, believe it or not, that are X-zoned.
We are learning something
I
new
know,
today.
right? Yeah, there's a few, just a few, this because it's based on elevation.
Right.
Wow.
Even though we're surrounded by water. It's very interesting.
Right.
Not very many, just a couple.
That's a good house to have.
Excellent. Truth or tail? A clean inspection means you never have to fix anything.
I'd say that's false. Number one, I don't think there's anything anywhere near the truth of having a clean inspection. Even the brand new homes that we've gone into, we've done 11-month warranty inspections for punch lists and find issues.
Yeah.
So everybody has a conception that the misconception that a home inspection, you can walk out, it could be a perfect house, and you're going to walk out and there's not going to be anything on the report. There's always going to be something.
There's always something.
It's a home.
Yep.
And we have to take care of it, but there's always something.
Oh, it's just a couple blemishes.
That's right.
So older homes fall more off. Older homes fail more often in home inspections, but you just mentioned that they don't.
That's not always the case, right?
The new ones do too.
New ones do too. And let's be honest, we've had homes around here since the 30s and beyond, and they're still standing. They're tried and true. And a lot of the construction materials they used years ago are considerably better than they are now.
Yeah.
Wood is one big thing. No, I wouldn't say that. I just, it all depends on how the house has been maintained.
So many of the older homes have been updated beautifully in so many different ways.
Yep. As long as the structure of the home stays intact, we're probably going to have a great home
Absolutely.
for a long time. Inspectors love DIY repairs more than licensed pros.
Absolutely false. Absolutely false.
Had to go in there, didn't I?
Yeah, absolutely false. While there are some DIY projects that can be handled by a homeowner, the big things we recommend, leave it to the professionals. I've gone into homes and we fall back on electrical where it looks like someone came in there. I always look at permits. You don't find a permit for a new electrical panel. You go in there and they almost got it right. There are certain things you can do in a main panel you can't do in a sub panel. And if you don't know the details, you'll get it wrong. And that can create a dangerous situation.
Absolutely. And, you have to have licensed professionals with plumbing, electrical, for sure. Definitely.
Absolutely.
You don't want to do that on your own.
Yep.
All right, great. Do we have any closing comments? This has been a very informational session. I really appreciate your time joining us here on our podcast, Key West Porch Talk. And any closing bits of wisdom?
Take care of your homes. Perform the maintenance. And the inspections will be easy.
I have
Roll
one.
right through.
How about doing those pre-inspections? The seller can do pre-inspections prior to listing their home.
You're doing one today.
Absolutely.
Oh,
we were actually doing one today after this. It's a good idea. A lot of folks that are selling their home, they want to stay on top of it. If you want a quick sale and you want the actual buyer's inspection to go a little more smooth, have a pre-listing inspection. Have us out there, any inspectors in the town, have them go out, show you everything you've got going on in the house, repair, or be upfront with it. It'll make everything a little bit more smooth when it comes down to the final process of buying a home.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Great.
And the other thing that I think was really a great point, this client today has hired Danny to also do the insurance inspections. And why that's valuable is because you have a current 4-point and wind mitigation so that you can get an accurate picture of what your insurance is going to be.
Wonderful.
Because if someone that previously owned it, they haven't had that in a while, maybe they haven't had up-to-date credits to their benefit even, they have an accurate insurance report.
Excellent. And those are definitely key items to making the transaction run smoothly to closing.
Just to talk about that as well, wind mitigation. The state of Florida and Citizens is coming out with a new wind mitigation form. It's a little more detailed. I think they're trying to help out by adding us documenting some things to add mitigation credits. But there are some things that are changing. So we got to keep an eye on that. I've got the form, the form. It's not being used yet. And I'm slowly going through it, and there's some stuff to learn on there. So we're working through it, and I'm going to be trying to educate people on this as well, real estate agents, especially.
Yeah.
You guys don't deal in these forms. You see them, you pass it on to the insurance company. And so, yeah, there will be some changes, and it'll be good to be able to get out in the community, the real estate community, and be able to discuss that.
Excellent. I'd love to know more about that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Excellent. Well, Carrie and Danny from Waypoint Inspections, thank you very much for your time today. I hope that our listeners and our viewers have learned something from all the tips that you've given us.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. It's Ruth, Keys to the Seas Realtor, Key West Porch Talk. See you next time.